So yeah, last episode Iran was in a civil war, and let's continue the Iran storyline. The Iranian Revolution, which is a coalition of Islamists, but Islamists basically. And so yeah, let's continue. Firstly, Stefan gets captured by the revolutionaries in Tehran, while Tehran gets slowly but surely sieged down and captured. With only small urban Tehran really surviving for a few months, but the revolution is very successful over here due to the aid of the Soviet Union. That's why the only border territories except for some corners in India are basically theirs. The Iranian, with the monarch being dead, a new monarch is put in place by a military commander who declares himself to be king and is more aligned with the Reichspakt than the Entente, which was the former leaders' allegiance. And under this new leader, the Iranian resistance gets a new coup, but the oligarchs or the pro-Entente leadership strike back and plan a revolution of their own in Luristan. But Luristan gets easily recaptured by the Persian Empire. This new Persian dynasty, known as the well, the Garabani, now Azmakeh. This was caused the formation of the Azmakeh dynasty. It was a pretty after the fall of the Palvuni and Qajaris. It's the so-called oligarchy period became at an end for Iran. These, and with a more nationalistic and pro-Islamic flavor, the Muslims lose popularity. As Ali Khamenei just straight up commit mutiny, with only the socialists being left, and the socialists struggle now. So basically, by this point, we have this small area, and this whole small area should get really easily encircled. And with the small passes of all of Iran is restabilized under this guy, and this guy actually starts modernizing Iran. But the fact is, Iran can't really expand anywhere, the free, even with the free states of Kuwait and Oman. But there's a way to expand Iran's modernization, and that is through joining these guys. And by modernization, I mean industrialization, not cultural modernization. They want to stay back in the old world. The Arabians, which are massively profiting from their oil wealth, just straight up expanded their nuclear arsenal to about 6,000 to 10,000, making their nuclear as one of the greatest in the world. We'll expect for the Soviets, which, which are the strongest nuclear powers, and are way more paranoid than the Stalins, and they can't do the thing. Japan's sphere of influence is almost destroyed with it basically being in a reconstruction era, building up again the the Meiji period, which I guess this area in this timeline, the area where Japan conquers the world would be called the Meiji period. But now this would cause Japan to become more and more isolationist, and so we're gonna have the Hito period or whatever the fuck it would be called. I'm sorry, I don't know how Japanese periods are named. Okay, but basically the Japanese would slowly retreat as Philippines and Vietnam just straight up become more like vassal states instead of colonies. But the Iranian Revolution spikes up separatism in India. What is India? The India is India. That's a fact because everybody knows what India is. Right? Well, for some Americans, most people know what India is. Look, the revolution's quickly springing up in the Indus River, guerrilla fighting happening in central India, the United Independence Front would be formed. But it isn't really that united, it's more like a coalition of guerrilla groups that are planning to break away from the British. I mean, technically the Brits led into to cause India to have some to form India, the Indians to form India because the Indians wanted independence, but they knew that if they weren't together, they would fall. That's the point. I know. So eventually, the fact is, so we'll, so basically, the spreading happens a lot more. While vidéo sur quoi? Indian troops suffer, specifically Rush troops, as Pakistan fully becomes, and after the fall of Delhi, the British just leave straight up. They just straight up leave. Now the Japanese in a last ditch power play do decide to move into Burma and establish the kingdom of Burma, which would basically and give it to Thailand, which is a Japanese ally. So this is just straight up an alliance. Look, the fact is, by this point in time, this due to the formation of Greater Thailand with the annexation of Burma, tensions rise up in the Middle East. Not in the Middle East, but it does rise up in India as the Indian kings rabble and rabble more and more. Eventually, I think the treaty would give Pakistan, they would divide India into four territories: Hindustan, Dravidia, Dravidians. Mm. So yeah, it's on the map. Hindustan major. So we have Hindustan, not the Rajasthan, Bengal, Dravidia, and Pakistan. All of them are currently allied in the Pact of Indian Defense, and so yeah, the Pact of Indian Defense is a pact of it's a defensive pact so that colonizers won't come again, even though Sri Lanka is still independent. So we're going to represent the Pact of Indian Independence with this color, and these countries do join to. This somehow includes Afghanistan, which also joins because this is where the Afghani monarchy exists. Meanwhile, the US, the more nationalistic and hawkish government, is basically more and more while is trying to survive while the middle while full on World War III is not happening right now, as there needs to be a casus belli and some series of events to happen. For now, nothing really big happens, but there are high tensions, especially in Africa, even with the nukes. And the so-called and the Indian Independence Front would spike up tensions even more, and they are pretty close to being at the boiling point. This is the boiling point. This is the current tension. So if tensions don't lower in the next episode, we could realistically see the war in the next episode or even the next episode. So yeah. Now Morocco currently only rule through Spain, same with Western Sahara, so they also joined the Entente. Portugal stays neutral because it's Portugal, okay? The Portuguese stay neutral for now. Look, now, and in China, this group is in this clique, is invading this clique. I heard goon sauce, mustard ruby. Look, the fact is, with eventually the most of China being taken over by with this, these guys would now become the big guy and the black, the peasant republic. The city of Shanghai, while the reformed government would finally launch another with the victory in Burma, the reformed government straight up invades with Qingdao planning to restore its dominion over China, but it isn't known if it truly could restore its dominion over all of China, as the reformed government is seen as a Japanese puppet state. And this is the new rogue reformed government, a monarchist government. This is a more ideological and fanatical Japanese government. And that's it. Let's end the video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and God bless.